Seeds of Doom 5 pros, 5 cons, 5 pros. One of the best productions in the history of the entire classic series, absolutely. Some of the most compelling scripts in its history. Indeed, this might have been a very fun read, potentially even. All of the supporting roles are very solidly performed, very rare for a Who serial, and how grateful we should be that it was this one they secured the final performers for. Magnificent. The VFX are so lovable, even genuinely impressive for the most part, yes. The horror and sci-fi are so gorgeously fused. The horror is rooted in a sci-fi proposition, which makes the horror all the more tangible and frightening than just some supernatural boogeyman. It really assists the horror components in the series each time they attempt this balance versus just having a bunch of spirits, specters, or whatever you want to refer to them, sprites. 5 cons. It is a six-parter. I would argue that I think episode 4 is maybe slightly uneventful. I believe the Doctor is just captured for most of that one, and he rescues Sarah very gallantly at the start, so it's a real what's the point, frankly, but this is fairly brief. The storyline encourages the idea that the series was at its best when it was attempting to compose new threats for the Doctor rather than relying on previous villains from the show. The thing is, much of the Baker era, that is the Williams era specifically, is new opponents, a new alien planet each show, and it is more formulaic than anything in the sometimes maligned Unit/Pertwee era of the show. How the Williams era gets off lightly sometimes, I know it does not in some or many circles of the show's fandom, is beyond me, frankly. Just existing knowing that the Baker era arguably peaks with this season, and it's like, oh, and I have like 5 more seasons to watch, including that bland Keys of Time charade. Man, Fifth Doctor is underrated, and hell, 80s Who in general is quite underrated. I will grant Sixth Doctor's storylines are a very incredibly mixed bag, but kudos to them for trying to do something different, which, well, wasn't that the big issue everyone had with the Davison era. I've never taken the Fourth Doctor as seriously as an action hero compared with the third. Baker is not as lean or fit as Pertwee was, despite being a younger fellow, and so his bouts of Venusian Aikido seem sillier to me, to be quite honest. The fandom lauds it so much you'd think no one would ever feel depressed or bored again if they had a copy of this on DVD, but maybe I want more out of life than your average Doctor Who fan does. I need more than Doctor Who to make me happy. I only got into the series a few years ago to search for this alleged happiness, and I did find some, but not as much as I would have liked. I think it became so much harder to be happy after the 2000s. Social media ruined all of our expectations. Everything we liked about the world was ruined by social media. I don't want you to be looking at a blank screen for too long, so we'll end here. Thanks, everyone.